So for those of you who don't know you, let's introduce our guest today. I've got Rebekah, by her government name. We call her Becky. So a little bit about you. We've been family friends for a while now. A very long time. And I know right before this interview you said to me, one thing we want to talk about is how much our lives mirror each other, how it's mirrored each other in so many ways we didn't even realize. When I first met you, your dad was around, and unfortunately we lost him a few years ago, and your family dynamics switched to something very similar to mine. And yeah, so if you want to talk a little bit about that, tell us about, what's been the hardest thing for you, what's been your struggle when you've lost a parent, when you've gone through what you went through, and how did that change, like everything, the dynamic of things, how it changed you, how much you had to grow from it, and things like that.
Cool. I think, I agree that like when we first met, my idea of like losing a parent was so different than what I actually thought it was now that I've experienced it. It definitely was kind of like now that I've also lost a parent, I see it very differently as it's something that you have to live with every day. Whereas previously, ignorantly, I always thought it was kind of just something that happened and you go through it for a while and then life just carries on. And it's kind of just something that would have happened in the past. Whereas now that I've experienced it, it's something very much in the present. So when I was 18, I lost my beautiful father to cancer. So it was one of those tricky ones where we kind of, it's always like that battle of like, would you rather know you're about to lose someone? Or would you rather lose them instantly? I was on the side of the coin, but we know you're about to lose them. So it was a weird situation where you're almost grieving someone that's still around, that you're talking to. So it's definitely a very different dynamic, which is so strange because you're like talking to your father, but you know he's most likely not going to be around for the next couple of months or next couple of weeks. So we lost dad when I was 18. And I think like the dynamic almost changed instantly in the sense where you live in a home, you've got a dad and a mum, and you've got your siblings. And then I think initially with all of the chaos happening around, logistically, when you lose someone, there's so much logistics behind it. It's like no one prepares you for. It's kind of like, okay, family's coming over. You've got to go plan a funeral. You've got to coordinate this. You've got to go print this out. I think I remember on the morning of my dad's funeral, your sister, you and me, we had to do like a office works run to print out a photo of my dad. And it was just like running errands and doing life admin where it's like you're almost so engrossed with all of the chaos that you actually don't realize what's actually happened. It's like your brain tells you lost your dad, but then it's like so much happening. You've got to plan this, you've got to run around, you've got to entertain family, you've got to keep them kind of occupied that you forget what's actually happened. I think it really hit when the chaos died down, when the funeral was over, when family members had kind of gone back and resumed their normal life. And you're sitting in the same home that your dad used to be at. And it was so strange because I think I remember vividly telling myself, like, you expect life to kind of stop for you. You expect life to kind of take a breather and start when you're ready. But I think the most jarring thing that no one prepared me for was life just continues. Bills will still be in your mailbox, and your manager will still be messaging you saying when can you come back from work. And you still have to go back to work and logistically plan your day when it's like it almost feels like a life jolting moment where you're like, I need to just stop and feel. And unfortunately the world works in a way where like you just have to keep going. Like you're meant to keep breathing when you're back at work, and people will still message you and ask you about logistical stuff. Like life just keeps going. Life doesn't stop because you've lost someone, which is the trickiest thing.
And I know from personal experience, seeing like being around those couple of weeks leading up to everything that you went through, right? And from my perspective, where I've been through it and I knew what you were about to go through, but there was no way I could prepare you. I remember having a conversation with your dad, and I was like, and he was like, you might be able to help the girls with advice or anything. And I was like, I don't know how to prepare them for something like this. And I would think about it all the time. And I'm like, how do you even have those conversations? And, in time we've learned and we've grown and everything else. And you have an amazing story. You managed to quit your 9-to-5, follow your passion, build an empire on what you believed in and start your own business. And that took a risk. You were really young at the time as well. And I'm not surprised because of how you've always been from a child. It was something that was bound to happen. But I think, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was it like? What was the mindset that you had to use? And what would be the advice that you would give someone that went through what you went through, but wants to achieve their dreams and wants to, find their way.
Yeah, I think, and I feel like you could agree with this as well in so many ways, where it's like you don't know what you got until it's gone. Really does hit when stuff like this happens, when you do lose a loved one. And it really changes your perspective on life completely, whether you want to or not. I think definitely losing dad at such a young age, and dad was 50, going to turn 52 the year he passed away, which in theory, now looking at it, it's actually really young. It's not too far off for us in the whole perspective of it all. It really hit us, and I think you can't deny that it forces you to sit and actually look at your life and go, okay, what am I doing all of this for? If you work at corporate 9 to 5 and you love it, that's beautiful. If you work a blue collar job, white collar job, whatever, as long as you love what you're doing, I think
like your purpose.
Exactly. And I think it really forced us to sit down and go, okay, life could end tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. So it really made me sit down and go, okay, what am I here for? I don't know how long I'm here for, so I want to make sure I'm not waiting for the right time. You have to create the right time. I think I definitely had that mindset before where I would ideally love to chase my dreams, but when I'm older, or when I have XYZ amount in my bank account, or when I'm settled down with this, or when I have a family. And then I think losing dad really forced me to go, honey, you don't know if you'll even get there. So why don't you do it now? And I would say this to anyone that's lost a loved one, or even who has been lucky enough to not lose a loved one. It's like, you have to change your perspective on life. There's so much more to life than just waiting for the right time. Of course, money is important, and security and safety, but oddly enough, losing a parent and living in a single parent household where we are forced to grow up a lot older and kind of help and support our parents emotionally, financially, mentally, the whole sort. You're almost forced to create something more for yourself than the regular.
And I think it's having that, mindset of, we don't sweat the small stuff, but also when it comes to the bigger things for us, on the perspective of like life itself, we go, you know what, like life is too short. So what if this doesn't happen, or what doesn't happen? You just get on with it. You just get to the next thing and push through. It's about having that mindset of, I'm going to push through no matter what and find my way. And I think that's something that's so important to always have. And I feel like as much as grief is hard and going through what we went through was hard, the blessing in it is probably the mindset, right? Like, because that's something that for us we've treasured, and it's changed our lives.
It's so harsh, it's so blunt. It's like grief isn't friendly, grief isn't nice, but in the most twisted way. It's such a testimony, because it forced us to be blunt with ourselves, being like, you want to do this, make it happen. Don't wait for the right time, you just have to make it happen. There's nothing to lean back on, which at the time was horrible. And it's like, why is life being so mean to me and forcing me to do all these things? When I'm looking back, it's actually the biggest blessing as well.
And I always say that, like I've told you that from time after time, losing dad shaped me to the woman I am today. I would have still been a very different person. I would have lived a different lifestyle where I wouldn't have had the awareness to these things, because I was wrapped in cotton wool in the best way possible. Like, and you were the same. We were loved. And, if anything, I think another thing with both our dads was we really got that example of what it's like to have a strong, beautiful man in your life. That's very important. So I think that's something we are really grateful for,
of course,
as well. But thank you for today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone enjoys the episode.
Thank you for having me.